ever spent time picking out a baby name, you know how personal, emotional, sometimes even tricky that choice can be. Well, our good friend Karen Coltrane, the president and CEO of the Children's Museum of the Lowcountry, is back with something fascinating. We're talking about how the sound of a name might shape how we feel about it even before we meet the person. Good morning, Karen. This is quite the interesting topic.
You know, when I saw this study, I immediately thought of you because I was like, she will love this, this conversation.
I love
so,
it.
yeah, I thought you might. And yeah, I mean, we see infants all the time in the Children's Museum. A lot of times they're in with older siblings, but I mean, I saw a 3-week-old last week in the sling.
Yeah.
And Emily, by the way.
Was it spelled with a Y or an IE?
I didn't ask.
Definitely Y.
Yeah,
Definitely
probably a Y. Yeah. You're very unique.
Very.
And yeah, because your parents knew. I mean, they just knew. So I think parents have that kind of sense. But yeah, so it's a meaningful choice when you pick a name for a child or dog. Like I've just done 2 puppy names. I'll shout out to Duke and Dolly because they watch.
So cute.
And Rick's always trying to see if they recognize me on the TV. But it's a meaningful choice. And it was fascinating to me that there's this effect that they call the Balba-Kiki effect.
Okay.
And the way it works is that people are shown 2 shapes, so like a bulbous, round kind of shape, and then they see like a spiky starburst effect. And then they're given the name Balba and Kiki and said which one matches which. And 90% of people put the Balba sound with the round and the Kiki sound with the spiky, you know, sort of look, which you can imagine.
I can totally imagine.
Makes sense. So it turns out we associate soft rounded sounds with soft rounded shapes. Same thing, and then sharp abrupt sounds more pointy and energetic. So it's kind of wild that instinct carries over into real names. So according to a study in 2015, the names like Molly, Lily, and Owen with round flowing sounds tend to feel more gentle and friendly. But meanwhile, names like Max, Kate, or Quinn, which have a little bit sharper, more abrupt sound, often kind of give off boldness or strength. So that might be something to think about as you know, are rolling along and coming up on a name. So when we meet a baby named Zoe or Julian, the research shows that our brains might already be forming impressions just based on the sounds of the name. And a recent article, and this is the article I saw that caught my attention, was in Psychology Today, and it ranked the most pleasing names based on sound and they did a study on people in the US and UK. So it wasn't international, but I mean, it was, you know, US, UK. And no surprise, names with soft consonants and open vowels came out on top. So Sophia was the #1 in both the UK and it is a beautiful name. So in the UK and the US, Everly and Zoe were the girls' names, and the guys' names were William, Elias, and Julian. So I just thought that was really interesting.
If you have those names right now, wow, you must be amazing.
You have what they call a Balba name. And so people tend to respond with warm, positive feelings.
That's crazy,
Isn't that crazy? And so, of course, every name is special, though, right? And what makes a name really important is the story behind it. Karen, my name, my middle name is Susan. Why? Because my mom loved soap operas, and back in the 60s, there were 2 characters on 2 different soap operas. She couldn't decide. She gave me both of them.
Wow, that's dedication
so
to the
there's
soap
always
operas.
a really cool story behind someone's name. I'm married to a 3rd, you know, so that he's carrying down a legacy. So our son, Sam, we thought Sam Coltrane sounded like a good baseball player, and he turned into one. So, you know, I mean, those thoughtful stories are what really matter. But I just thought this was very interesting research that as we kind of think about that, it's another thing to take into consideration.
Wow, so these babies have no idea that they're being born and people are already talking about their names.
That's right, that's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the next time when you look at a little one, you know, a lot of times you meet a child and the name does kind of seem to fit.
Yeah,
you know, and
and
so
everybody grows into their name as well, you know.
And there may be something to that may be more research, but you know, mine's a Sam, you know, it kind of seems to suit him. I can't think of another name that would work, you know, for who he is. And so I think that you know, that you do kind of grow into that name. So it's not trying to stress parents out. It's just another piece of information to think about when they're making that really important choice for their child.
I always find it fascinating too what kind of names are kind of becoming extinct. And like you don't see, like my mom's name is Barbara, for example. Like, you don't really see that many babies being named Barbara, for example. It's really crazy how the names kind of
it's trend. It's like living room furniture or clothing or puppy clothing we just saw. You know, I mean, it's kind of what's in style, and there's a little bit of that to it. But you know, I've noticed like I say recently, in the last 30 or so years, the classic names just have seemed to come back.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah.
What's old is new again.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
I loved this study. More of these, Karen.
All right. I'll keep being a nerd and finding more stuff for you.
I love it. Guys, don't forget to go visit the Children's Museum of the Low Country. We got their website right there on the screen if you want to learn a little bit more about all the incredible things they do for kiddos right here in the Low Country. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.